currently Tuesday, April 12th, and it's snowing. It's been snowing all night long. Friday that just passed, it was 21 degrees and sunny. Sometimes I seriously wonder why the hell I live here, but yeah, so today's video, I'm just gonna be bringing you guys around my apartment with me and doing what I do in a day. I'm gonna be recording some videos today, and yeah, I just wanted to chat, give you guys an update on what's been going on, future videos, what they're gonna be all about. And I don't know about you guys, but I personally love watching vlogs. A lot of the videos that I'm watching these days are vlogs, and for whatever reason, it just puts me in like a good mood, and it's cool to see inside someone else's life. Alright, I wanted to show you guys also my little greenhouse. I've been working on a bunch of seeds and stuff for a patio garden this summer. And I've got a tomato plant, some bell peppers, and then a bunch of other cucumber, zucchini, more bell peppers. And they're all doing pretty good. Down here, I've also got a bunch of sunflowers, which are really poppin'. And at the very, very bottom, there's a few more. So, super looking forward to summer when this little greenhouse is gonna be put outside. All right, so we've got our tea. We're all settled in for a little chit chat. Cheers. Got my Ottawa mug, reppin' the hometown. So good, oh my God. And it's snowing out right now, so this is just like, just melts my heart. It's so cozy. Goddamn. Okay, so this is very informal. I haven't written any kind of notes or anything for this video, so I'm just gonna go through what I want to chat about, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. First thing that I wanted to mention is I picked up this book at the library the other day. I went there to print a few things off, and this was just sitting on the shelf, and one of my boyfriend's friends had recommended this probably about a month ago, and it was just sitting on the shelf, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that is the same book that he said was really good, so I grabbed it. And yeah, it's called The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt, or Hyde. And so far I'm like, you know, this is how much I have left. And I took this out like last week. So it really sucked me in. I think it's really, really good. I think it's one of those books that everybody should read. It's really deep into philosophy and goes through a lot of ancient types of philosophy and the things that are common in between different religions and philosophers over the centuries, and just kind of breaks it down. It is a little bit like high level, I guess, in terms of when you're reading it. At least for me, sometimes I have to reread something a few times because it's just a lot of thinking going on, and you have to really get into it because it's pretty deep. It's really, really good though. I highly recommend it. So there were 2 pages that were in this book that I actually took like a photo of it on my phone because I thought it was really interesting and I wanted to remember it. So I wanted to read these out for you guys and see if you think they are cool, like I think they're cool. This is what he says. He said, "Here's my favorite idea. Work on your strengths, not your weaknesses. How many of your New Year's revolutions, how many of your New Year's resolutions have been about fixing a flaw? And how many of those resolutions have you made several years in a row? It's difficult to change any aspect of your personality by sheer force of will. And if it is weakness you choose to work on, you probably won't enjoy the process. If you don't find pleasure or reinforcement along the way, then Unless you have the willpower of Ben Franklin, you'll soon give up. But you don't really have to be good at everything. Life offers so many chances to use one tool in place of another, and often you can use a strength to get around a weakness. So let's chat a bit about that, because for me, I don't really make New Year's resolutions. I do sometimes more based around, okay, I want to spend more time with family and friends. I want to travel more. I want to really do the things that I enjoy doing and haven't been giving like enough time to. So I feel like, okay, I'm gonna make a resolution and I'm gonna do the things that I wanna do more frequently. But I really like this thought about not trying to work on a weakness so much, instead focusing on the things that you're good at and the things that you're maybe okay at and enjoy, but you want to be better at, instead of picking the things that you're super bad or just not good at all and trying to like completely change who you are, your personality, in order to make yourself good at these things, when realistically there are so many skills in life that can get you around a weakness. And I had never thought about this kind of way of thinking, and I thought it was really cool and something that I just wanted to share with you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you think that that is a cool tip. And the second little excerpt that I found, when it comes to goal pursuit, it really is the journey that counts, not the destination. Set for yourself any goal you want. Most of the pleasure will be had along the way, with every step that takes you closer. The final moment of success is often no more thrilling than the relief of taking off a heavy backpack at the end of a long hike. If you went on the hike only to feel that pleasure, you are a fool. Yet people sometimes do just this. They work hard at a task and expect some special euphoria at the end. But when they achieve success and find only moderate and short-lived pleasure, they ask, as the singer Peggy Lee once did, is that all there is? They devalue their accomplishments as a striving after wind. We can call this the progress principle. Pleasure comes more from making progress towards goals than from achieving them. Shakespeare captured it perfectly. Things won are done. Joy's soul lies in the doing. So this, I think, is really interesting because I think it perfectly ties into FIRE. It perfectly ties into the financial independence, retire early movement. A lot of the work and a lot of the things that people in the community talk about are based along the journey of reaching FIRE. And yeah, there are a few people that have YouTube channels or blogs or just things out there where they talk about what it's like after they hit FIRE. But I think it's really interesting that this progress principle pretty much says that the journey is more fulfilling and working towards a goal is gonna bring you more joy than actually getting it. And I think that is a really good life lesson, to really think about the things that you want in life and make sure that you're making time for them now, not pushing them off to some random later date. And this perfectly ties into FIRE because a lot of us are working our butts off, saving 50+% of our income to get to a point where we can pursue those things and have all of our time back to do whatever we want. And I think if we really think about how time is finite, how it's really the one thing we can't get more of, we can't buy more time. I mean, unless maybe you're like sick or something and you can't afford the medicine without money. I mean, if you're American, because, you know, every other country in the world has healthcare, which I feel bad for you guys. I feel bad for you Americans who have to worry about healthcare like constantly. That sucks a lot. That also really affects your FIRE journey. So enjoying the journey. Enjoying the journey is worth more than getting the goal. I like to set goals. I'm a very goal-oriented person. I have money goals, I have life goals, travel goals, and I find actually doing the work to get to those points, you know, when you like book a trip, okay, let's start from the beginning. You have an idea, you wanna go somewhere. You start thinking about where you wanna go. You start thinking about the things you wanna do. You start researching the area, what season is best to go, what the weather is like, how many people are there at that time, what activities can you do, what's popular, and then you start to research hotels, maybe you start to look at flights, you start to really dive into the research and planning part of booking a trip. To me, I find that really exciting, and it gives me all these ideas about like the places I could go and what I could see, what I could do, and how much is a hotel? What if I go during the week? Is there any events going on there at this time? Is there an event going on sometime soon that I could plan a trip around? And I find that part really exciting. And then once you actually book that trip, it's like a little bit of a rush to be like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna go and do this. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna follow it through. And then there's that anticipation of waiting for that trip. Like maybe you need to get some items in order to go. Maybe you need some like special equipment or some certain types of clothing that you don't have right now. Like if you live in like a super hot climate and you're going somewhere cold, maybe you need some cold weather items. And there's all this like planning in between once you actually book everything to when you go on that trip. And I find that anticipation and planning is like really exciting, and it really stretches for me out that enjoyment of a trip from the planning phase to the booking to the planning in between, and then actually going on the trip. And I do find sometimes once I'm on that trip, it's like not as exciting as I had been envisioning this whole time. And then of course you get back from the trip and it's just like, it's over and itching for the next trip. At least I know that's how it is for me. Whenever I get back from a trip, my instinct is to just start looking and planning the next one, because I want that like rolling enjoyment of planning something, looking forward to something, going on it. And then with YouTube, I think it's really helping me stretch my enjoyment out of travel. When I sit down and put all the footage into a computer and then go through and edit it all together, I'm allowing myself to relive that experience and see it from a different perspective by trying to make it look like really nice and cinematic and something that you guys out there can enjoy. I find that that has really been elevating my travel enjoyments. And speaking of travel, I booked some solo trips recently. Last week actually. So I booked a 2-night camping stay in Yellowstone National Park next week. It was super last minute. There was only one spot that had 2 nights available next week. And I know from all the research that I've done, April is not the best time to go to Yellowstone, but it's on my bucket list. It was super cheap. I just purchased a few camping items so that I could camp in the colder weather. And the date that I'm going, the west entrance into Yellowstone is supposed to be open. So I'm gonna pop down there by myself for a couple nights. I've never camped alone before. I have traveled alone in the past when I was younger, and I haven't done it in quite a long time. I mean, if I include my Jasper road trip, that was a solo trip, but it was like just, you know, it was pretty close to home. So I'm gonna go down there just for a couple nights, camp, do some hiking, maybe see some wildlife, and put a little video together, because that is a big motivation for me right now, is to make videos, and I do really enjoy it. You know, I'm still not working, so it fills my day. It helps me feel like I'm working towards something, and I am learning a lot by doing that in terms of editing videos, taking videos, stuff like that. So I'm super looking forward to that trip. Stay tuned for the video that follows it, which should be later in the month or potentially in May, we'll see. And the week after that, so the last week in April, I booked a solo trip to Vancouver. So I've been to Vancouver only once before with my spouse, and we went for I think 2 or 3 nights. It was really fun. It was in October, I believe, or September, and the weather was phenomenal. We got really nice days. So now going in April, I've heard it can be really, really rainy there. I'm going down there by myself. I'm gonna stay in a hotel this time, and I'm gonna be in the like English Bay area. It's really close to Stanley Park. So there's gonna be a lot of outdoor, just like walking around, trying out some cool food, just getting to know the city on my own terms. The idea of solo travel has been an interest of mine for a long time, but I've never really had the guts to just book something and do it. And with the last 4 months not working, I think I've opened my mind up a lot to solo travel. My spouse has a full-time job and isn't as interested in doing a lot of these kind of shorter random trips that are last minute. And because I have the time to do this, I think I should just take advantage of it and jump in, you know, see what happens. and go out there and, I don't know, just like explore shit. Yeah, I've just been feeling kind of, I don't know, stuck lately. I don't know if you guys ever feel that way, but when I don't have trips planned and don't have something to work towards, don't have a goal on the table, it's very hard for me to stay in like a positive mindset, especially when it's shit weather outside and like all week this week it's cloudy, it's snowing. It's super depressing and I just want to be out in the world exploring things and learning new things. So that is why I jumped into booking these trips. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't really know what to expect going down into the States with all the vaccine stuff going on and the COVID stuff. We're kind of entering a 6th wave right now. All I know is that over the last 2 years, I felt extremely stuck and just in a rut, and not being able to travel really took away a lot of my zest for life. And I think a lot of the reason why I was so drawn to the pilot thing, to being a pilot, was the travel aspect of it. I do love flying and I love being in a plane, but I think that being tied to traveling was the biggest pull for me. In thinking about all this stuff over the last few months, I think travel is it. I think travel is the thing that brings me the most joy, and it really gives me a feeling of purpose and belonging, which is kind of odd to say when you travel to like a new city and you don't know anyone, to feel like you belong is like, I don't know, but there's something about it. There's something that calls me to like go and explore. And I've spent a lot of my life ignoring it or pushing it off because someone else didn't want to do it, or I was just too afraid to do it alone, or I didn't want to reach out to strangers and like do something out of the box. I just wanted to like travel with people I knew, travel with my boyfriends at the time, and it really limited the things that I could experience. I had a lot of opportunities to go to places that were far away when I was younger. I had, a bit of money. I didn't have as much as I have now, but I had enough money that I could make it happen. And for one reason or another, I just didn't do it. And looking back, I think that's probably one of the only regrets I have in my life so far, is not doing those things when I had that freedom. And before COVID happened, I guess no one could really predict that this would be so fleeting and such a privilege. It's such a privilege to be able to travel, and something like this pandemic could happen at any point in time. So I guess I always just thought, I'll push it off. I can do it anytime. I can do it, maybe next year. And it always ended up being that. It always ended up being, let's look at it next year. And now I'm 30 years old, and I've spent the last 10 years pushing it off for one more year, all in the pursuit of a goal that's somewhere down the road. And I just don't want to live like that. I want to still pursue fire, of course, and save a bunch of my money in order to retire early. But I'm not going to sacrifice what I want now and the things I want to do and experience now in order to get there sooner. I just don't think that if I put all my time and energy into working and making a lot of money, by the time I retire, I'm going to be any happier. I think I really need to do those things now because I'm not getting any younger. The world is not getting any better. And this is the best time. Today is the best time to do something about it, because realistically, now is the only time you can actually make decisions and do something and plan something. And if you right now in this moment make those commitments to yourself, hopefully you keep them. This person here now wants that. And if future you, once our future you decides, that person was silly and they didn't think it through, I think you're missing out on a lot of stuff. I think people need to be more impulsive. If you have like a decent amount of savings, like the majority of people in the fire community have money set aside for, retirement, but there should be a little portion of you that is saying, I have this freedom, I have this money will allow me to do these things I want to do now. If I don't do them now, like when am I going to do them? Am I going to wait 20 years? Am I going to wait 15, 10, whatever it is? Like, don't you want to take advantage of that freedom now and do it now? Because nothing's guaranteed, right? Thinking about the meaning of life and are we here for any real reason? Sometimes I wonder if there is any purpose in life. And for me, that's not a depressing thought. It's uplifting one. It's like, if there's no reason, if there's no concrete reason for me to be here, if there's no higher purpose, then I should do whatever I want. As long as I'm not harming other people in doing those things, I should do whatever I want. I should pursue the things that I want, because I only really get one shot at this. And when I'm in my, let's say 90s and I'm on my deathbed, am I gonna look back and be like, wow, I wish I had like saved more money and worked harder and retired earlier? Or am I gonna be happy that I spent my time traveling and doing all these things and not listening to the logical side of my brain all the time? Sometimes you just have to give in to that impulse and just do it and go after it. And if it doesn't work out, at least you know that you tried and you went for it. Food for thought. Thanks you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy this style of video, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Thanks for joining me, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.